Hello.
Hi.
Look at this. Just keep the camera on them.
Yeah.
So, today is day 12, I think. Feels like 12.
I don't know.
She doesn't know. And I thought, oh, she's laying on my back. I thought as a cool, I don't know, switch it up, that I would invite Melinda. Are we wearing the same tank top right now?
No, they're just the same color.
Wow, we look like twins. Let me show a little of my bra so you can see it's different. That I would bring Melinda in to talk about,
to distract you.
Yeah, apparently. Just to talk about some of the stuff that I've been going through. And actually this morning, we watched like 2 of the videos from previous days together, so that's like fresh in our brains, I guess. And then we did yoga together and we read, and yeah, so we just finished reading. We didn't do meditation, but we started talking about it. I was like, we should do this on camera. We should talk about this. So that's what we're doing. And so I just have to warn you, I think you know, but there's no editing, there's no stopping. You just say what's on your brain. I mean, that's the, you know, the fun part of it all. Okay. So yeah. Do you want to start?
No. Okay,
so this is what I was thinking today about. We read some of the stuff that I read yesterday about anger, and about, you know, not being angry at anger and stuff. But what really struck me today was there's this list that Buddha has, these 7 things that that when you have anger, you know, like the anger effects inside of you and in the world around you. And the first one on the list is that anger makes you ugly. And I was like, wow, Buddha, like, really, dude? But
it's true. It shows up on your face.
It really is true.
Yeah.
Like, I love how honest, that is. Like, there is this truth, and I mean, like, this concept of ugliness, you know, is like, I don't know, it's all convoluted, but it's true that like when we truly feel ugly, it's because internally, like, we're not happy with ourselves, and
right.
And like when you're angry, like, obviously, you know, you're struggling with your own happiness, and it's so apparent that it shows up on your face, and other people recognize it too. That, you know, that ugliness. And I've thought that before. I've caught myself in a mirror in the middle of like being like super mad and like jarred. I'm like, whoa, I can't believe how ugly I look right now. Which is a weird thought to have, but it's really true. And I think, I don't know. Any thoughts?
That's true.
It is, right? Like, I mean, like, I think about, I've actually, like, I'm in arguments with my siblings and stuff. I can remember them being like, wow, you look really ugly right now, and being like, wow, that is so inappropriate. but
that helped.
But it was true, because I was like so angry, you know, like, that it contorts your entire face, you know?
Yeah. I was just thinking that my parents / their generation, like, if you say something that's like sort of mean, like out of anger, like, they'll say like, don't be ugly.
Yeah.
And like, I always thought that was weird, but like, it's both physically ugly and like,
right,
you know,
there's some truth
ugly
to it. I mean, you know, there really is some truth to it. Like, I think it's like a mindless comment that gets said, you know, but like, it does make sense.
If you think about like the simplest form of that is like kids cartoons, like the villains and the scary people are the people who are acting out of anger. Yeah, they are like drawn to be like uglier.
That's true.
To be scarier looking.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm gonna grab your book.
Oh, okay. Well, and one of the things that Thich Nhat Hanh says after the list is, he says that when you're angry, it looks like you're so cute.
Their eyes.
It looks like like a bomb's about to go off in your face, you know? And one of the things that Buddha says that you, like, how does he put it? Go back a page. Lists 7 reasons for us to let our anger go. Yeah. And one of the reasons is...
Which one?
That, where is it? Oh, we lose friends when we're angry because they fear being blown apart by the bomb inside us. And...
Do you feel like that's happened before?
Yeah, definitely. I identified with... I don't know if I lost friends, but I know that...
might have distance.
Yeah, that I've put distance between me and people before with my anger. Yeah. And also, I can think of times, you know, with certain people, and I'm not this way, but like some people are, like that moment. There's a moment sometimes in friendships where the entire relationship changes, and often it's that moment that people like see, you know, your capacity for anger. Yeah. You know. So I don't know.
The one that I liked that resonated the most with me, the reasons to let go of anger, is we become a hungry ghost unable to take part in a fresh, joyful sangha. And I can't remember what the word sangha means.
I think it's like consciousness.
Yeah. And we become a hungry ghost.
Yeah.
It's true because, like, I'm thinking about... I don't like to use the word... Like, I don't like to say I'm angry or mad. And I don't know if that's, like, a bad thing because it means I don't deal with it as well. But I use, like, frustration. Like, I'm frustrated right now as a, like, filler word. Because for me, like, I can get over anger faster than normal people, or the rest of... I don't know, maybe this isn't true. But I feel like most of the time I can get over anger. So I'm like, it's not that big of a deal. I'm just frustrated. But in those moments where I'm feeling frustrated and I'm not dealing with it, I do feel like I'm just, like, hovering around, like, trying to experience what's going on, but really, like, in the back of, or in the front of my mind, I'm just like, I'm just aggravated. And, like, it does, that hungry ghost is great because it's like, I'm looking for something, but I haven't dealt with the anger. So I'm not really experiencing joyful experiences. Yeah.
Really deep, man.
Yeah, like when I'm mad at you.
I actually wasn't thinking of times when you were angry with me. I was thinking of times when you were just, like, frustrated in general with the situation around us, like, consistently. You know, I can think of some times where, you know what I mean? Like, where it was something that you felt like you almost couldn't deal with. Mm-hmm. And so you really, there have been times where I've seen, and I mean, it happens in me too, but since we're talking about you.
Yeah. But
it
feels
that
like
I've seen
I can't
that, you know,
move forward with, like, the good stuff because I'm just, like, stuck in this, like, hover mode of, like, I'm angry. Her eye is open again.
This is what she does.
Close it.
Just close the eye. No. Okay. Andy is leaning so hard against the back of my neck.
You should do a top view.
Okay. I messed it up because my head went up. I can't look at it.
Oh.
They're being cute.
Okay.
You're
got
welcome.
Your cute dosage of cute.
Dose of cute for the day. Yeah, I mean, and that concept is addressed, you know, in the next couple paragraphs of the book. And when I talked about it a little bit yesterday, but, like, not, like, 2 things that have to happen with anger for it to really be dealt with is, one, you have to acknowledge it. Because I think that we are ashamed of anger.
Yeah.
We're taught to be ashamed of our anger. I mean, think about it. When you're a kid and you're, like, really going crazy and, like, losing it, you know.
You get punished.
You're really angry. Yeah, not just that, but you typically get removed from the room, too. So, you know, I think without, like, the correct guidance, that can, we get ashamed of it because we're like, well, gosh, we can't even, you know, express this around us. And instead of, like, being taught how to navigate through it, I think often, that we're just taught to avoid it completely, or to,
to just stop.
Suppress it. Like stop.
Like, don't be angry anymore.
And
which is not dealing with it.
I think parenting is hard in general, so I'm not like blaming, our parents or anything. It's just that I think that becomes the easier way to deal with it. And a lot of people don't have this knowledge, like this isn't something I think that's just like taught universally. I think a lot of people, I think it's kind of like a cycle. It's like, our parents were taught to suppress their anger, and they teach us the same thing. And so I think that it's kind of like normal to be ashamed of your anger. But like once you realize that it's not something that you should be ashamed of, but something rather that you should just deal with, so you can like navigate through it. Like you can change, the course of it. Yeah.
I was thinking about the kids that I work with, most of whom are nonverbal. So there's no way to like communicate how they're feeling or what's going on. And like often they respond in aggressive behaviors, just like seriously angry actions.
Melinda works in a center for autism.
Yeah.
We're wondering.
And so the important thing to figure out is an assessment of why they react that way. So understanding, like, is it because they don't want to be in the place they're at? They're trying to avoid the situation? Are they trying to get attention and you're not giving them attention, so their reaction is to act out so that you'll look at them or talk to them or whatever? So there's, like, it's super important to know why they're doing it. Because if they're hitting you because they just want to be interacting with a person and they're not getting that at the moment, then you have to kind of guide them through that. So if you respond in a way that is counterproductive for that, then that behavior just continues. Right. So I was thinking about how I had a kid once who was really upset, and we just thought that he didn't want to do what we asked him to do. Or I just thought that. And then eventually I started to realize that maybe that was wrong, because he wasn't responding to the way I was responding to him. And I realized later he was sick. He didn't feel good. And, like, really what he wanted was to be held and comforted, because he's a kid. He's, like, 4 years old. He wants to be comforted with his mom. And, like, we're in a situation where, like, you don't get a lot of, like, holding hugs. Like, you don't get the chance to, like, just chill for a little bit. And that's really what he needed in the moment. But we didn't know that. So he was just angry for, like, an hour. And so, like, I feel like if you apply that to yourself, like, if you're walking around angry all the time and you're not asking yourself why, if you're not addressing, like, the seed of that, then maybe you're dealing with it wrong. And maybe the people around you are dealing with it wrong.
Well, yeah. I think, like, there's some truth in that. Like, if you as the person who are dealing with someone who's angry are getting frustrated and angry, and you respond in kind, and Thich Nhat Hanh even talks about that. Like, if you just start arguing with somebody, you're probably going to make them more angry, and you're going to escalate the situation further, which, I mean, we all know is totally true. Like, when we respond to someone's anger with anger, it becomes an argument, and that almost always escalates.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, he mentions, like, a mom, if a baby's crying, the mom stops what they're doing and picks the baby up and figures out what's wrong and makes it right. You don't just go yell at the baby for yelling.
Right.
Like, that's a baby. They don't know. They don't have a way to communicate with you. They can't take care of themselves. So you figure out what's up. Why are they crying? So you have to treat yourself like a baby.
Yeah.
Why are you crying? Why are you mad? Why are you a ghost?
That's good. Treat yourself like a baby. I like that.
Yeah.
Like, have the same compassion for yourself that you would have for an infant who's clearly unable to do something in the moment and suffering with that.
Because we might be taught to speak and to talk and to, work or whatever, but most of us aren't actually taught how to deal with our emotions.
When a baby's crying, I think that the response is to comfort it, So that makes sense. But also to figure out what it needs. Mm-hmm. And I think when you stop in your anger and you're mindful, you know, that the first thing you're doing is kind of soothing yourself, like you're interrupting that, and then you're figuring out what you need in that moment. And it is kind of like treating yourself. Yeah. It is definitely like treating yourself like a baby. That is a really good connection, babe.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. And that's 15 minutes.
Oh no, is it time?
It happens so fast. Mm-hmm. It really does.
And that was like literally a page.
Yep. I know. So now you know. Now you know why these videos are so long. Well, it's so much good stuff. It's so meaty.
Well, yeah, because it's dealing with real things in life.
Yes. So
I love Thich Nhat Hanh.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're reading
That's true. All of the books that I decided to read, like this one, are from her library. Like, I just picked these out of, like, things that she already owned. So thanks, babe.
You're welcome.
So treat yourself like a baby today, okay? And we love you.
Ask yourself why you're crying.
Yeah. And I hope this was a fun, like, interruption of just my face, if you've been watching this. Okay. Love you. You have to say I love you.
Oh, I love you too.
Okay, bye.
Bye.